Honestly, I think gentle parenting is way harder.
That is a hot take.
That is a hot take right there.
We're gonna just go with her flow. Worst mistake ever.
I'm the cool mom, you know?
I don't personally agree with this, but
with great power comes great responsibility.
I'm glad my parents spanked me. I was an awful child. You want a travel tip?
Travel tip.
Be a bad mom on the plane.
Hi.
Hey, it's Sarah and Lo Beeston, your Fairly Odd Sisters. Woo! Yeah! Please don't make me do it again.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Sarah's munching on her popcorners.
Let me just eat 2 more bites. Okay.
Yummy. We are back and ready for action today. We asked our Instagram story, your parenting hot takes, and we're going to read some of those, talk about them, go over them. Yeah. So obviously these are all opinions. Nobody's saying that there's like a perfect right way to do everything. I think this is just obviously parent to parent. You know your kids, you know what's best for them. So yeah, as always, we're just here to have fun and talk about this stuff.
The hot take.
The hot takes.
So things might, honestly, I just want to throw this in there. We will go to Lake Powell with all of our friends and we will do these hot take games, and they always go way too far.
Yeah.
To where people are actually arguing with each other.
Full blown arguments.
I would just like to preface that with this, like, it gets heated.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're all still friends, and this is just supposed to be entertaining. So do with that what you will, but
exactly,
things get intense when you're talking about hot takes.
When we were talking about it was if dance is a sport or not a sport.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was going to be the easiest, like, let's move on. And then it turned into like a 2-hour debacle.
And people were like throwing down at the end. All friends.
And it's funny because I feel like people just chose a side and they're just fighting
tooth and nail.
Even if they're like, you know, at this point, it was just like, I'm going to win.
Yeah. But when we say hot takes, it's meant to like spark the drama, spark the crazy opinions. So just know that.
Exactly.
Before this.
The first one says, exploring and experiencing the world is worse. I can't speak. I'm going to go ahead and restart that one. Exploring.
It's okay. You've got this.
My nose is stuffy and I didn't take a Zyrtec today.
You got it.
Exploring and experiencing the world is worth missing school. 1000%.
Yes.
1000%.
I am just waiting for the one that we both have different opinions on.
I know. I think those experiences with your family, if you have the opportunity to do that, I think that is incredible. Mm-hmm. And that your kids will learn so much from doing, like, going to different parts of the world, or like even going camping or whatever it is. Yeah. There's so much to learn in the actual doing of things.
Yeah. I think there shouldn't be like an extreme with anything. That's kind of how I always go about things. So I think like taking them out of school to have these experiences or do these trips as a family is super important. I think that's a good thing. Within reason of like, are they going to graduate high school?
Make sure they're testing right. And like,
and make sure they know what, if they are missing, that they have like the homework to be able to still do okay. Because you do still care. Like if you do put them in the public school system or a private school, you want them to do well in that because colleges are going to be looking at that.
Totally.
So just make sure that you have all the right tools to have them still do well while still having these experiences.
Exactly.
But like if you decide to do the route, like I know if one of our friends, his parents didn't put him in school, he was homeschooled, but that's what they would do. They would travel everywhere. And he's like, I wouldn't trade that for the world. He's super successful. He grew up that way and he loves it, but they chose not to do that. So he didn't have the homework side of it. So it's like, if you choose to put them in public school, just like, or school, just know like what that is. You can't just be like, oh, you're going to fail, but we're going to take you on these trips.
Exactly. Like they still need to do like, well, on that note, like, would you say, cause we've talked about, you know, doing homeschool ideas or homeschool options, especially because we like to toy with the idea of where are we going to live and where are we going to be and are we going to be somewhere else for 6 months or what does that look like? And so we've definitely toyed with the idea of homeschooling or like something along those lines. How do you feel about that?
We're always talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm so torn with this because
Because our experiences were so good at
so
school.
good. Yes. And not everyone
we don't
has
know
good
different.
experiences at school. I do feel like there is an aspect that I would want my kids to have of like being on a big team, like a high school team, or those kinds of experiences, having so many people to go to like dances with and like fun group activities, that I would want them to have fun
Those
doing that.
experiences, yeah.
But also I'm leaning towards like maybe homeschool for like a little bit.
Yeah,
and then,
like see how it goes.
when they are like in halfway
I'm
through
so
elementary,
torn.
like putting them in. I don't know.
I know I'm so
just-
torn about it because I loved my high school experience. I loved school. I hated school, but I loved the
social aspect
of it. And like I feel like that's important to like meet all these new people. But at the same time, like I hear that homeschool groups can be a thing where like you go around and you meet all these people and you can do all these extracurriculars. There might not be in a high school situation, but you're like still doing them, you know, at a rec or at a whatever. Anyway.
I think when the time comes, you'll know what feels right to you for your kid.
Yeah.
You'll get that feeling and you'll know your kid. Like if you have a kid that's so social and wants to be involved in all this stuff,
Let them try it.
like let them go to school and do that. But if you have a kid that
hates it
and
maybe
like maybe
homeschool's
wants
an option.
Yeah, I think you'll know what the right thing to do is when the
And
time
not
comes.
everyone has the, you know, opportunity to homeschool because there's a lot of like both working parents that
totally
can't, you know, get a nanny or like can't, you know, there's those situations too where it's like it's not a choice.
Yeah,
so
and you just have to hope for the best.
Yeah, hopefully they love the public school system or whatever.
Oh,
anyway,
that's always tough. We're
that's
going
a
back
tough
and
situation.
forth all the time.
Your turn.
This one is parents shouldn't be their kids' friends. They have to respect you as authority figures and not look at you as one of their peers.
Oh, I see this.
I agree with this to a point.
Me too.
And I feel like a lot of our answers are going to be kind of like this. I think your kids 100% need to know that you are still the parent.
Yes.
And respect you in that way. But have an aspect of like, I'm still your friend. I'm on your side. I will be there to support you. And that aspect of being a friend, and making sure they feel like they can talk to you.
Having an open communication is so huge. Like knowing that your kid can talk to you about mistakes that they've made and you're not going to like freaking, you know, I don't know, like if there's
chastise them as authority.
Exactly. Like it's like you want them to tell you, hey, like I did this thing and I don't feel good about it. And you want them to be able to come to you knowing that like, yeah, there might be some disappointment there, but they're not like going to cut you off from whatever. But
I think you can't 100, maybe later. I think later in life when they're out of your house, you can 100% like you'll always be their parent, but you can be more of a friend level.
Exactly.
I think until they're graduated and gone and living on their own or have their own family, there has to be that level of respect.
And I think like I saw in high school, I would see some girls, you know, with their parents, and I just think like, wow, this is so crazy that like they're allowed to do literally whatever. And like their parents would take us to like go and toilet paper somebody's house, and like they were the first ones to be like, yeah, have boys over till 5 a.m. Like they were the best friend and they never did anything to like say no ever. And I saw like what kind of damage that can also do. And it's not like terrible things. It's just like, you know, when you're never told no and you just think like I can do whatever I want. It's like, I'm the cool mom, you know, things can get a little out of hand with that. And then there's no respect there or no kind of parent when there's no parent figure.
For sure.
I think that is also a little bit scary. So
a balance,
having that balance,
which is a lot easier
said than
for
done.
us to just say that than
Especially because we have like little tiny kids.
So
like,
I think
we
we're
don't
more
have teenagers
as
yet.
much as we're a friend. Like right now, we're kind of more of an authority because they're so young. They need
guidance. And stuff. But that's so funny because like I'm gonna be eating my words when I have a teenager, two teenage girls
I would not
that are
know
just
what to do with
going
me.
to throw me, and I'm just gonna be like, what happened, Sarah? I don't know what to do.
Lo and I are gonna be on the podcast just talking about our kids. What Jack and Ozzy are off doing who knows what.
I know that'll
It's gonna
be
be
so
funny.
crazy.
That'll be a weird stage of life. I don't even know because we just have little kids. So. But
we'll see when the time comes.
Yeah,
like right now, I can just say it so perfectly. Like, of course, find that balance.
Yeah, seriously, find it super easy.
It's so easy. Moving on.
Oh gosh.
Okay, the next one says, if they can't walk, they don't need shoes.
You can do whatever the heck you want.
Sure.
If you love little tiny baby shoes, then just for the look of it,
put those little cuties on there.
I think that they're do they need them?
No. I think that it's bad if you put them in like shoes that have soles when their feet are so tiny because they don't have like formed something. I didn't know that. But
yeah.
we
talked about this, the arches.
Yeah, the arch thing. But like I think if it's just like a cute little soft shoe that you just slide on and it's a cute shoe, I freaking love that.
It's an accessory. I will say before I had kids, the shoes are what made me baby hungry. Tiny
Vans
that are just so unnecessary. But
every time I was at Vans to get a new pair of shoes, I would see those little baby Vans and be like, one day I'm gonna have a little cutie wearing
so
these
true.
baby Vans.
But the statement that is true. If they can't walk, they don't need shoes. Yeah, they don't need them.
Yeah,
but they could be fun.
I feel like my babies didn't really wear them ever because we were in Hawaii, and so
Sunny just like, barely no shoes. She'll wear shoes once a week here.
Oh, when we came to visit, I remember Stella had just learned to walk. She didn't walk until she was 17 months old, and so she was a little late bloomer with that. But when we like went to Utah and she had to put on shoes, it was the funniest thing watching her try and walk in shoes.
That is, they look like little puppies.
Yes, it's so cute.
That's adorable. Okay, this is sometimes you have to let your kids fall down / mess up in order to learn. Sometimes words aren't enough to teach a lesson.
I think that's true.
I agree with this.
Yeah.
Not that you should always let them fail.
No, for sure.
But you can't always bail them out.
And time and time again. And if it's like talking to a wall, I think at some point they just have to decide for themselves or like see what happens and then, Yeah. Obviously not with like huge things.
Not talking huge like consequences.
I'm talking like, hey, don't sit like that on that chair. You might fall off. Like that will hurt. Mm-hmm. And then you tell them over and over and then maybe they wiggle off and then they fall and then they're like, ow, that hurt. And you're like, yes, that's why we don't sit like that. Little things like that. Maybe not sometimes like huge it doesn't
sink in. Yeah.
Life decisions, but
yeah. I think the parents that constantly fix problems for their kids over and over, their kids never learn. If you're always gonna be swooping in to solve their problems, they're not ever gonna figure out how to do it on their own.
They gotta learn how to be problem solvers. That's Tanner's number one thing.
I agree with that. Not always. Yeah. Again,
obviously they need to be safe. Again, and like you need to like make sure that they're
this
safe.
Isn't like a definitive thing. This is just it's good for them to learn in these instances. Sure. Within reason.
For sure. Okay, this one says when eating, you have to try everything on your plate. No dinner equals no dessert.
I don't personally agree with this, but
yeah, I think like I definitely don't give them the dessert first or anything, but we like to put the things on their plate even if they've said I don't like that. And we will encourage them to eat, but if they really don't like it, then I do encourage them to try it though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm always saying, do you want to try your green beans?
Yeah.
And you put it in front of them, but at the end of the day, like you can't force them to eat it. Yes. And I feel like they shouldn't be like in trouble and not get a piece of the dessert if they don't like a certain thing,
Do you remember feeling like when I was young, I just thought like finishing your home cooked meal was healthy. Yeah. Like I thought that like if I didn't like that was what was going to be healthy. If I finished everything on my plate, that was my home cooked meal. Like that was healthy. And that's like not that's true. So funny. But that's how I felt. And so I definitely want my kids to know like, oh, I'm feeling full. Like I don't have to like force myself to eat the rest of this food or like, oh, I am still hungry. Like, let me get a second plate. I always let them decide if they're still hungry or not. But
it's funny. My mom would always give us our vegetables while she was still cooking the rest of the food. So that we were hungry and we had nothing else to eat. And she doesn't eat any vegetables. The only vegetable she likes is salad. So when we were eating our vegetables, she would never eat any of them.
She's like, I'm not going to make you like me, a person who doesn't like them.
And we never noticed that she wasn't eating the vegetables. Funny. But now I like every single vegetable. So I don't know.
That's she always thing.
That's like a tip. Like you could give them the vegetable first,
give
so they
them
don't have anything
that
else.
They're kind of nervous to try first before their things. That they like.
But I think in the instances when I've told my kids no dessert, it's when they have not eaten one thing. Yeah. When they can't just eat sugar on sugar. Bless ya. Bless ya. If they haven't even, I know they're hungry and they haven't even touched something on their plate, I'm not going to give them a piece of cake.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line.
I kind of like, if they ask for a snack, I first ask like, are you hungry? Cause I'll just make you like a little meal and I'd rather have you have that than like a bar or whatever.
But a lot of times I cave.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay, you can have a bite of that. But
exactly.
It's not that big of a deal in retrospect.
No.
Like they shouldn't feel in trouble for what they eat and what they don't eat.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
You can encourage though. All right. This one is bedtimes don't always need to be the same. Let your kids sleep when they want to.
For my girls, I have one, Ozzy, who literally put her down at 10 p.m. She'll wake up at 10 a.m. the next day. If I put her down at 8 p.m., she'll wake up at 8 a.m. Like she's just a 12-hour girly, no matter what. And Stella, if I put her down at 8 p.m., she wakes up at 6 a.m. If I put her down at 11 p.m., she wakes up at 6 a.m. So she is just like a clock that wakes up at 6:30. And so for me, I'm always like, I know Stella needs more sleep than just like 5 hours. So I like to get her to sleep by 8 or whatever. With Ozzy, I'm not as worried because she sleeps 12 hours and she knows that she needs sleep and she loves her sleep. But all that being said, if we're out with friends and they're playing and having a good time or they're out with their cousins or whatever it is, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, like it's 8, like we got to go right now. I'm not that rigid. Like if we're at home. I
do that sometimes.
Yeah, but that's okay too.
But
like,
my kids don't thrive when you have to know your kid. Like Lo was saying, like my kids, when it gets past their bedtime, they're like no longer fun. They just cry and they get sad and they're the sleep deprived.
Like they're like, oh,
they don't hang well when they don't get their sleep.
And I think my girls do okay without.
They
they can stay up late and they're kind of like, they get cuter as they stay up. Like honestly, it's harder for me to put those.
Mine turn into little demons when their bedtime rolls around.
But
and
that's
Lo's
just kid to kid.
Yeah.
And so you'll know your kids. And like, I just feel like since they're okay, we don't do it every night. We let them stay up if we're like out and about. We don't let that like,
hinder your fun.
Hinder our whatever we're doing.
I think that's great. And like Lo said, I think it's fully kid to kid basis.
Yes.
It's funny because so with Jack, we were so routine with him from the beginning. We were doing like the little things to like get him prepared for like the sleep training. Like we did all of that and he caught on, whatever. He's exactly like Stella. He will wake up at 6:30. No matter what time he goes down. So for me, when we're just at the house, I'm like, okay, like 7:45 bedtime, let's go at 7, because I know he's going to wake up at the same time every day. So with Sunny, when Sunny was born, because I had watched some of my friends not have routines, not have schedules, and their kids were so chill. Yeah. They would go from place to place. And so when Sunny was born, I told Derek, I think Jack needed a routine because we made a routine for him and he had to have it. So with Sunny at the very beginning, I said, we're not doing routine. We're going to let her sleep whenever she wants. We're going to just go with her flow. Worst mistake ever. It backfired tenfold on us. And I looked at Derek and I was like, she needs a schedule.
I made a mistake.
Because I made a mistake and she's not like our friends' babies. Yeah. And so we did that.
Baby to baby.
For the first like 6 months, we're trying to be chill with her, take her everywhere, let her stay out late. And she was a nightmare when I say like in the sleep department, she was waking up so much. She started sleeping through the night at like
a few months ago, right?
like over a year. She was over a year when she started sleeping through the night. And I just realized that like each kid is different. Yeah. Our kids are not our friends' kids that will just do that, which that's great that your kids do that. Ours are just not built that way and ours need a routine. So
exactly.
With that being said, get to know your kid.
I will say that like having like both of my girls, I followed like lightly followed, a baby schedule, a sleep schedule, sleep, eat, wake schedule. And that honestly helped me so much with just getting them to love sleep faster, but that doesn't always work for everyone.
We went through it. I thought if you were chill, then your baby would be chill. With the sleep, it's not true. Sunny only started getting better when we gave her a routine. Yeah. Which she
liked her little
routine.
Liked
it, and she still likes it. She's so easy to put down for naps and bedtime. We just go in there and she doesn't even want us to hold her. She just points to her crib and don't even try. But yeah, bedtimes don't always need to be the same though. Yeah. Don't test your kids out, see if they're fun after bedtime, and then you can make your decision.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we just start going home, because it's not fun.
Yeah.
Oh man. Discipline should be done in private, not in front of other kids or adults. I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true either.
It shouldn't be in private unless you're worried about doing something crazy. Like,
I
every
think
kid
that
acts
okay
out, and you can pull them aside and let them know that's not okay.
I think it's healthy to see, you know, like if a kid's doing something that's like, you know, not okay, it's healthy to see like a parent figure come in and be like, hey, like, we don't do that. Or, you know, and so then the other kids are like, oh yeah, like, we're not supposed to do that. You know, it's probably healthier to see
for them to see they have their parents too that are doing that, and they can relate and say, okay, it's not just me that mom and dad tell
to not do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's healthy, unless you're like trying to spank them, but we're not a spanking family.
Yeah, we don't spank over here.
We're not spanking, but I think, no, that's totally fine.
Yeah. The term gentle parenting can sometimes be used to justify lazy parenting. Hot take.
That is all.
Honestly, I think gentle parenting is way harder than not gentle parenting. Wouldn't you say? Like, maybe just because you keep like, I don't know.
I think there's a spectrum of this.
Yeah.
You cannot be 100%, I believe, a full on gentle parent.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
your kid will kind of run your life.
I've seen this happen. I have seen this happen where they're just trying to do their best.
Yeah.
But they're
kid
trying
is
to be
literally
kind, but like owning
working you.
Yes.
Working you over, and like they know who runs the show. It's them.
Yes.
And they're going to get whatever the frick they want because they're going to be, you know.
I always try to take the gentle approach first.
Yeah.
With a sternness, but a gentle approach.
Yeah.
I'm not going to jump to violence.
Yeah.
Violence. That was a joke, by the way. Please don't come at me. That was fully a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to jump to being more like scary-ish.
Yeah.
I will always take the gentle approach first. Yeah. If they're not getting it, sometimes they need a little nudge of like stern voice. Yeah. We don't do that.
Hey,
we're going to go to timeout. Yeah. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because kids are kids, and they will just kind of, if they see that they're giving,
like, oh, if I do this, I get this.
And I'm not getting in trouble for doing this.
Exactly.
There's no repercussions, and then they run you.
Yeah, they can run the show.
I'm not just saying that. Yeah, like, it's a real thing. There's
definitely variations of the gentle parenting that I've seen, but like, obviously we all want to be gentle.
Yes, with
our kids. And so when we say gentle parenting, we're talking about like if the kid's like freaking out and, you know, like they're just so like, bad. Oh, here, try to, you know, like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, here's like a treat. Like, oh, here's another treat. Do you want the treat? And they're just like screaming at you, like, you're my friend. You know, like when you can't like sit down and be like, hey, like we need to stop screaming right now. Let's find out what the issue is. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, when you keep giving them what they want and they're acting out, that's when it's like,
it's bad. That's just reinforcing bad behavior.
Like, they're just going to have the tantrum because they know they're going to get the treat and they're going to whatever.
Yeah. But I wouldn't justify it as lazy parenting.
Yeah, I think it's hard to like have the patience to push through that. Yeah. But like, I do think that kids need a little, of course, everything comes down to balance.
It really does.
Like they need the love, but they also need to know like, hey, like that's not okay behavior. Yeah. Like let's.
And lots of people think about this in a different way. Like someone's gentle parenting could be so much different than someone else's.
Yeah,
and
exactly. That's why when I say gentle parenting, I don't want people to think that we're like,
yeah.
But like,
because I would say that like our overall vibe, I would say we do gentle parenting.
Definitely.
We do not raise our voice at our kids hardly ever, unless we're really wanting them to get the point of you haven't listened to me for the last however long it's been, you know?
Yeah.
But overall, happy medium, guys.
Happy
always.
Medium.
Like
happy medium.
Just Some parents had a child when they should have got a puppy.
I guess that's a good way to test out if you can parent together. See how your parenting style goes.
Some parents had a child when they should have had a puppy. Like there's bad parents out there.
I don't know if I've seen that necessarily. Do you feel like you have?
I have seen that.
You have?
I have seen that.
And Do you feel like they should have got a puppy?
Yeah. I will just say that obviously if you
That's a
had a
hot take
kid, you
right there.
wanted a kid, but there's different.
Just know that comes with great power comes great responsibility.
If you have a kid, like you really do need to step up to that, what they need. And it's sad to see kids in situations where the parents are not ready. They're not wanting that. The child deserves better.
Yeah,
I will say.
totally.
Obviously you love your kids, but there are situations where like,
Yeah.
people didn't want the kids and
Yeah.
probably shouldn't have had the kids. If you don't
Yeah.
want the kids, you shouldn't have had the kids. If you can't take the time to raise them
And give them the love that they
give them
need.
the love that they deserve, because kids deserve love, man.
That's so true.
That is a hot take.
That is a hot take right there. I parent pretty hands off. I usually don't step in unless my kid is hurting himself, someone else, or disrespecting someone.
Do you, man?
Yeah. If that's working out, sickety sick. Yeah.
I think if you aren't seeing any major behavioral problems,
Yeah.
you're probably doing something right.
Yeah. And I think like as long as you're stepping in when those, instances happen, I think it's good to let your kids try and work out a situation. Like as they get older, when they start developing those, behavioral, how to like interact with other kids. If there's like something going on, sometimes I'll let them, like what's going to happen? Like, are they going to work it? Like, I want to see how they try and work it out.
Before
and then
you
if
intervene.
if they don't work it out, then I step in and I'm like, hey, like, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
But it is good to let kids, try and use those skills to try and work something out before a parent steps in and like forces them to do something.
Yeah.
But I agree with that.
Yeah. I think that's great. I do want to say you could be the best parent in the world and your kid could still turn out not how you thought.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you could be doing everything right and be such a good parent and love them endlessly, and they are still going to make their own decisions.
Exactly.
I just want to throw that out there
Yeah.
because kids are straight up born with personalities.
Yes.
And then you can parent them the best they can, but at the end of the day, they are going to make decisions.
Oh yeah.
If you did what you could and you were a good parent, which I think a lot of people are, then like that's just them making a decision. And it doesn't reflect on your parenting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times parents always feel
What are we
responsible
doing
when their kids
wrong?
grow up and
Yeah.
they like go off the deep end or do these crazy things or get into trouble. And it's like, you could have literally been the best parent and done everything right, and your kid was still going to make that decision.
Totally.
So just know that.
So just do your best, and that's all you
Yeah.
can do.
Just love the little guys. Okay. Giving candy / soda to toddlers as a stop to bad behavior is a bad idea.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what? I don't get that. What is
Like I'll give you some candy if you just stop screaming.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
rewarding bad behavior.
Yeah. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
I agree.
The only time that I disagree is when you're on an airplane.
I agree. And I agree with that.
Or like a public situation where you're like, I actually have no other
Yeah.
options here. Like
You can rework that
I'm just
later.
like, oh my gosh, watch any iPad show, like
Yes.
play any game. Like
I
here's this-
agree with that.
Like the
I
only
am
times
guilty.
that's okay is when you like need to do that.
Yes.
You know,
I
like-
actually agree with that. You can work with the consequences of that later. When they're like,
We'll talk about this later.
Yes.
Yeah, have the candy, have the
Yes.
sucker.
Just give them whatever they want to make them be quiet on a plane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That a plane is honestly a
That is
100% yes space.
Exactly.
For me, I am like, yes, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I
Just like, you want these?
Please stop crying.
I
I'll give you
always
this.
bring
I'll give you
like
this.
3 or 4 of their favorite candies
Yes.
so that like
As
if
a
the
backup.
time push comes to shove.
Yes.
And I'm like, things are hitting, shiz is hitting the fan.
I'm guilty of
pull
that.
out one of these favorite things. I'm just like, oh my gosh, look what I found.
It
Look
works
what I
every
found.
time. You want a travel tip?
Travel tip.
Be a bad mom on the plane.
Reward that behavior.
Reward that bad behavior. Oh no, but I do agree
It's the
with
only
you.
time I agree.
Yeah, and then obviously later they're probably gonna act up and think that
They
they
can maybe
might
get
try
it,
that
and then
again.
you have to kind of
Then
rework.
You got to rework that.
Like we don't actually do
but
that.
it's worth it in the moment.
Yeah.
You just got to rework
Honestly,
it.
it
In private.
hasn't been like a crazy thing to fix after.
I've done that on a plane before.
Yeah.
And it works out.
And it's fine.
Okay.
For the sanity of the mommies and the daddies.
There's no shame in having a nanny. Having young kids is a huge responsibility, and making sure you're getting enough rest and handling your own responsibilities is essential to being a good parent.
I agree. If you have the opportunity to have a nanny, I think it's like so very helpful. Mm-hmm. Even if it's like, I want a nanny 1 hour a day to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like if you are a stay-at-home mom or dad that doesn't get a lot of alone time because you're the one that stays at home with the kids,
take a break.
I think that it's just as worth it to like go and do your bike ride or your pickleball for an hour or your whatever it is.
100%. I agree.
Or your lunch with your friends.
Yeah. I think more moms feel guilt and feel like they can't have any time away or with someone else. But in reality, your kid will probably love having the attention from someone that is energized, ready to play,
like
only
there to play with you,
only there to do whatever you want and play any game you want.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. And then they also, I think it's a good thing for them to be able to see you doing things that you love.
Yeah,
and being happy coming home and knowing, oh, mom and dad are just going to do their thing, and then they'll be back to get me and happy. Like obviously, if it's not a good nanny or like that relationship isn't good, as long as you find like
a good nanny or like.
And a lot of times with nannies we've had, our kids can't wait for them to come over, and they're like, oh, when's so-and-so coming over to play with me? It's like a big grown-up friend that they just love.
Yeah, exactly.
And they know mom and dad are going to be back home to play with them and spend more time with them. Yes. Help is always good to keep your sanity.
Yes,
I agree.
And
but I do feel... my heart goes out to the moms that feel like they can't leave their kids and like can't have that break, because that's a real thing too. Like you feel guilty, but
and also some people don't have the opportunity to do that, like
to pay for that, or
it can be so freaking expensive. But if that opportunity is in your life, I think that's 1,000% okay. Mm-hmm. Especially like if you have little hobbies or like you're trying to do a side hustle or whatever it is, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to apologize to your kids when you mess up. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like,
we haven't disagreed. Are we the same type of parent?
Probably.
We haven't disagreed.
I feel like this one is so important, and Tanner is actually so good at this. Mm-hmm. I watch him do this all the time, where if like he's at his, you can do like percentages in the day. I feel like that's a good way to like see how you are like with the kids if it's been like a hard day. Mm-hmm. And I see him be so patient with them, and then he'll be like, Ozzy, or he'll be like to one of the kids, like, just stop, like, no. And then realize I shouldn't have, raised my voice, or like shouldn't have said that so stern. And then later he'll be like, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be mad at you. It's just you've rammed into my ankles 17 times with the scooter.
I guess.
But like, like it's okay. Like those moments you're gonna be a little bit, break for a second or whatever it is. But as long as you let them know, like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not mad at you. Yeah. I think this just like.
And isn't that good for them to see an example
for sure,
from an adult?
Then they learn how to apologize.
Yes, and it's actually crazy. Because I feel bad if my parents did do this, and I'm just saying that. But truly looking back, I don't think I remember my parents ever like saying, hey, I'm so sorry. Like,
because parents are never wrong.
Yeah, it seems like
in our eyes.
It seems like that.
Yeah.
And I had to do this with Jack yesterday.
Yeah.
Like Derek and I were getting in like a little tussle or whatever. And like, we weren't yelling at each other, but like our voices, it was a stressful situation. Yeah. It was like a
heated moment.
It was a heated moment, and Jack happened to be there listening, and I had to apologize to Jack because I said, hey, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't raise my voice with daddy. That's not right. We were having an adult conversation, and that wasn't right. I'm sorry that you felt like that. Cause he mentioned something. He's like, why are you and daddy talking so loud? I think he said it like that. And I was like, oh man. Okay. Yeah. We weren't yelling, but like,
it's just a heated moment.
It's more of a like tone that he's not used to hearing from us. And so I had to apologize to him. But at the end of the day, like, I think that will help your kids be able to do that to someone else if they see you doing that to them. And it brings them more to their level. Like, oh, mommy and daddy mess up too. We're just people. We're not your like invincible superheroes that
Totally.
don't make any mistakes and we're perfect and you have to live up to that.
Yeah. And I think that's super important too, is, you know, your kids are going to see heated moments between you and your spouse. And like, when that happens, we always like to make sure to resolve it in front of them too.
I was going to say
because that is like I cannot.
That would shake you as a kid. Yeah.
I mean, I went to bed with screaming, you know, and then like, I just felt so scared all the time. I felt like
they
sick.
don't like each other.
Exactly. And like, I feel like something that would have been so healing was to see the resolve, to see like, oh, everything's okay. Mommy and daddy still love each other. They just had like their moment.
Yeah. And I think that's 100% true. It's always, we try to make it a point to have like, if the kids are around and it's not just us, a moment where they see us hug. Yeah. Where even like, if we're still mad at each other, we're like, we're okay. We're fine. Like, daddy and mommy love each other. We're going to hug this out. Even if we're like still mad, we just kind of put it on the back burner and we're like, okay, let's hug it out for the kids. And then we can go have our talk. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But even like saying sorry to each other in front of them. And not even to the kids, but like just showing like we're resolving this and it's okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And I just think that's so important for kids to like see, because some parents, honestly, like some kids never see fights. And then it's like, oh, parents never fight.
There's never conflict.
And then that, like,
that's so unrealistic.
That's like also unrealistic. So it's like, not that you want your kids to see a fight or whatever it is, but that's also on the other spectrum of like,
that might not be the best.
That's not the best.
Because then once they get into these real life relationships and marriages, it's not going to be perfect.
The expectation is a little
too high.
Skewed.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway,
I don't know how we got on that, but that's 100% amazing. Yes.
Hot take.
People who don't want kids should not be pressured into it.
1000%.
I think that's when we can just say, don't pressure people to have kids.
Can you guys be my parents? I'm 24. LOL, love the pod.
I will be your mommy any day.
We'll be your mommy.
You're fairly godmothers.
Yeah, you're fairly godmothers.
I felt so dumb saying that.
Felt the ick.
I got icked at myself, but I would love to chat it up, be your mom, be your internet mom.
We'd love to.
That was nice though. I'm glad you loved the pod. Nice. Just want to throw that in there. We got a little flustered, got a little weird, and then
got a little nervous, got a little, you know.
This one is, I'm glad my parents spanked me. I was an awful child. Hey, that's actually just funny that they look back and they're like, I'm glad
they spanked me. I was bad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's funny.
That's just funny. Let's
just leave it at that.
That's funny.
Co-sleeping is the best and gets overly judged. It's just like there's dangers.
It could be the best that for that person.
Exactly. Like,
is it the best for me? Nah. I cannot sleep when there's a little body next to me. As much as I want snuggles.
Yeah.
I know every ounce of when they move and then I need my sleep.
Yeah.
So, and
for me, it's not.
Yeah. We have nights where we co-sleep where Jack will come in our room or Sunny's just like really sad and we'll just put him in our bed with us, let them know we're there, or we'll just sleep in Jack's bed with him a lot. I mean, I think it definitely needs to not be judged for people that co-sleep. Like this is saying it's overly judged. I do think people get really into it. And I think that people maybe feel so like they have to say something because it's been proven as like a safety thing for some people. But at the end of the day, like, don't judge someone for their parenting. Just let them be. Yeah. They've heard it before. They know, obviously, if they're co-sleeping, they've heard the risks. So let them do it. Yep. Let them do it how they're going to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yar.
Kids are going to grow into their personalities regardless of how you parent them.
We kind of already talked about
to this. A point. I think you have to give them direction.
Yeah.
I do think you can be bad parents and that would definitely hurt your kids. Like it's not just 100% like personality. Like it's personality mixed with like parenting.
Yeah, for sure.
But they do have like strong personalities,
totally
innate qualities that are born to them.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think parenting can definitely either help or hurt.
The only newborn essentials are sleep, boob, bottle, and diapers. Yeah. And a binky for my kids.
Baba.
And a blankie.
Blank.
I would add swaddle and a binky.
Yeah. I get what she's, I think
list,
she's,
yeah.
I get what she's trying to say with,
You don't
there's so
need all the
many
gizmos and
gadgets.
gadgets.
I'm such a gadget girl though. I have such a hard time. I love the sound machine and I love the little things that might seem unnecessary. But to me, it felt calming as a new parent to have some of these little tools.
Yeah.
I'm getting less and less like that with each kid. Like with Sunny, I was like, whatever. She's fine without this, whatever. But gadgets are nice. They're invented to make your life easier. But
obviously, there's an excessive amount of gadgets, but like there's some obviously the sleep machine, the sleep sack, the swaddle, like all those are just like in my necessities bin as well.
Yes. At the end of the day, if they just have these 5 things, they will 100% be fine and great and no different than the baby that has all the gadgets.
Exactly.
It's more important to have a loving house than a clean house.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think for sure.
As much as I love a clean house, I'd rather have a living house.
Is more important for sure.
For sure.
There's a healthy amount of screen time to help kids thrive in tech advanced world.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah, I can agree with that one.
The internet has ruined parenting with the overload of parenting tips and opinions. I think that's partly true.
Yeah. It's like more information. And I think it always comes down to you are the parent of your child. You know what's best for them. Follow your gut intuition. It's like use the information as you will. And like somebody's experience might be different than yours or you might relate to that, you know?
Yeah. And I think there's a right and a wrong way to share opinions about things. Some opinions are just about parenting are just straight up uncalled for, not necessary, but there's a way to share your opinion in a helpful way to try and you don't have to change their opinion, but there's a way to like give your opinion without it being a mean or harmful way.
Totally.
To be like, hey, I've tried this in my own life and this happened to me, but whatever you feel is best. Like there's a way to give your opinion in a normal way.
Totally.
That I think people are lacking a little bit these days when they see certain aspects of parenting. People think they need to step in and just stick it to them. And it's not great. Yeah. So I do think that this is partly true of it. The internet has complicated things with so much information. Totally. It used to just be simple. Like moms would just have their babies and not hear anything else unless it was from like a friend or a family member. Exactly. There was nobody online telling them anything. So it was simpler.
Yeah. Simpler times for sure. And not as overwhelming. Mm-hmm. But now we have a Duna.
That's true. We have Dunas.
That's also on my necessity.
Necessity.
Go big on birthdays. Each one only happens once. We were just talking about birthdays last episode.
You give your spiel and then I'll give mine.
I think that like make your birthday, obviously the first couple years, like they don't really understand. But after that, I just kind of ask Ozzy or Stella now. She's turning 3. I'll just ask them like, what would you like at your birthday party? And I just kind of make it that. I don't really,
That's great.
Like,
who do you want and what do you want?
Yeah, who do you want and what do you want? And there you go. Yeah. I don't think you have to go so crazy.
I think a lot of times, which I'm not knocking this, you can do whatever you want.
Too. Do that.
A lot of times when parents go above and beyond and throw these like parties I've never even been invited to.
Like a Kardashian party.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a little bit more maybe, I mean, it is for the kid, but like it's fun for the parent, which is great. If you want to take the time to do that, do that. Yeah. I will say that I was this mom where I wanted to go all out for Jack's birthday parties. Like I got the balloon arch. I was making sure there was food there and I cooked all the kids little cups of mac and cheese and we had a scavenger hunt and got all these things and toys and it was a lot to plan and a lot to set up. And Jack
hated it.
Screamed the whole birthday. He got so overwhelmed with the people. He got overwhelmed with the stuff. He didn't know what to do.
He's overstimulated.
Thought I'd try again next year. Same thing.
Hated it.
Screamed every time someone sings happy birthday
parties.
No, the last one he was fine. He was on the verge, but he was fine.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, he was fine at our house.
Year.
But then I realized he's not loving this.
Yeah.
So this year we decided we are just taking the boy to an amusement park. He wants to do his little things with some of his buddies. I'm not going to go through the planning and the party.
He doesn't like a lot of people.
He's a kid that doesn't like it. So I think it's cool when you're like, I'm just going to ask my kid what they want.
Yeah.
Jack was too little for me to ask him. So I was like, let's do a plain birthday party.
Yeah,
but
totally.
now that he's old enough, like, I mean.
But also, if you want to do the huge birthday parties, that's freaking fun too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your kid freaking loves it.
Yeah. I think that's great too. It's just funny because I think it's.
You wanted to do that and then your kids.
My kids rejected that.
They're like, no.
Yeah. Maybe Sunny would be a party animal.
She likes the music.
Yeah. But it's true that only each one happens once. Make it memorable for them.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever that means for them. I think that's cool.
Totally.
Let kids wear what they want to wear.
And I think this one's funny for me.
Yes. Because like, Lo has some experience on this.
Yeah, I do. And it's funny because I have 2 girls. And so I think that it's so fun to like dress them in the same exact thing and like get them these really cute little outfits. And girls have so many cute outfits. And I have a child who absolutely will only wear dresses. And
even in the dead of winter.
Even in the dead of winter, I'm not kidding you. It'll be -20 outside, like snowing, frozen over, and she will be in a dress. And I will say, you know what? It's very cold outside. We will put on pants underneath the dress to warm her up a little bit, and then like a sweater over, but she will be wearing a dress. And I think I had to kind of stop, even though I was like, you're going to be cold. Like, can I just put you in this sweater that we just got you and like these pants that we just got you? And it was a sensory thing for her. And I think she just doesn't like certain things touching her a certain way. And we had to both kind of be like, whatever, just wear it. Like, yeah. Decide what you want to wear. And so now we literally just let her go into her closet and she picks out her outfits every day. Yeah. And rarely do I go pick out something. And she's actually gotten way better. Yeah. There was a time when she would just fight anything that I'd pull out if it wasn't a dress. But now that I've let her kind of have her independence with wear whatever you want, she'll literally go into her closet, choose whatever.
She's way more willing
to when I'm like, can you please wear this new whatever I got for you and stuff? She'll do it. And she's like happy to do it. Yeah. But then usually she'll be like, but can I wear my dress like when we get home? And I'm like, sure. Like you can.
There's a good compromise. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I think like do let your kids wear what you want, especially if they have like strong opinions.
Yeah. Like we're in that phase with Jack right now where he will wear his football jersey
and his cleats
and his red cleats. They're straight up just actual cleats that he will not. In the house, he wears the cleats. He wears the football jersey.
He has
or the baseball
drawn on. Like
he goes
football.
into my makeup and puts the black under eyes.
Yes,
this is the phase we're in, and I just have to do like a 15-minute cycle washing the jersey when he allows me to. Yeah, and then he puts the jersey back on. As much as I would like him to wear cute little boy clothes, we're just not in that phase right now. He's just in a football phase, and I'm learning to just ride that with him.
Yeah, it's honestly cute when they pick out their outfits.
It's like he's dressing up. He's a football player and he gets so excited to go play football with Derek, and it's cute. Obviously, I wish he would wear some
a little variation.
Now he's wearing a basketball jersey, so we did get him to switch. But at some point, I think it's good to have a happy medium, like you said.
Yeah. Like she's if you want to do family pictures, and then you're like,
obviously you don't want to wear a football jersey.
Yeah. And like sometimes she'll say no, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Or sometimes she'll say yeah, and I'll be like, sweet.
Yeah. They're gonna go through phases that you don't like. Totally. Even through their teens. I went through so many phases where I told my mom, why did you let me do this? The comb over bangs.
Wait, what did she say that you looked like?
Donald Trump.
Oh, that's
yeah. I had these horrible blonde comb over bangs. Anyway, but I told her, why'd you do? And she's like, you would not listen to me, and so you did that. That was your choice.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Hilarious.
Okay, nap time is negotiable. Sometimes it's all right to skip to do the fun stuff. I agree.
Yeah, if your kids can do well without a nap, why not?
Yeah.
If they can't, then maybe it's a little less negotiable.
Yeah, and I think like if you're at your house, like let them have the nap. Yeah. And if you're out and about and you're having a really fun time and maybe you have other kids that are having a really good time, maybe they can fall asleep out and about with you or maybe not. And that's okay too some days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it all depends on the kid.
I cuss around my 3-year-old and he has always understood that those are adult words he's not allowed to use. This is a slippery slope because
this is funny.
Because he understands that now, but I think He won't always. Kids are going to mimic what their parents do, whether it's like an idea and eventually that's gonna probably translate to him.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Like, that's how you choose to use your words, but that's just know that that's probably coming down the road, which is not good or bad. It's whatever you think. But yeah, I think kids naturally will mimic what their parents do eventually. Yeah. If he doesn't now, then he probably will.
I wonder what will happen with the girls. Because I don't like say anything crazy, but like Stella and Ozzy have never repeated a swear word that I've said.
Yeah.
But I wonder like what?
Later down. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, because my parents never... Well, my mom very rarely, but
never heard my mom swear, but my dad would.
Yeah, and my dad very rarely, but I never felt like I could do that.
Yeah.
But because they never used that language, I wonder.
I never did either growing up.
Yeah.
People should feel like they need to be confined to one parenting style. Stop stressing so much and just do your best.
1,000%. Shouldn't feel like they need to be.
People shouldn't feel like they need to be confined to one parenting style. Yeah, that's exactly what we said.
I love this motto. Just do your best.
Just do your freaking best. And whatever your kid, responds well to, you can find out how they respond, what they respond well to, and do that.
If you get snot, breast milk, spit up, food, juice, etc. on your clothes, it's not worth changing.
Yeah, in that newborn phase,
if you're not going anywhere, it's really not.
In that newborn phase, it's like if they're spitters, survival. You're gonna have spit
every day. My shirt would look like a war zone by the end of the day. You're laughing because
both your kids were just like barfers.
Kids don't spit up.
They never
Sunny,
did.
every time she ate, which was so many times a day when she was little, it was spot of spit up everywhere. Never changed. Yeah. I just waited till the end of the day.
It's not worth
if I had nowhere to go, I was staying in my spit up clothes. Yeah. I agree.
It's not necessary to parent all of your kids the same. Different personalities call for different parenting. I agree to a point. Like, you can't favor, like, obviously the core values of the parenting needs to kind of be there, so that one is getting like crazy favored over than the other. But I agree, like, kids are going to be different, and they're going to, like I said, they're going to respond well to something and maybe not respond well to something else. And so that's where you have to find like, what do you respond to? Because both of my girls are so different from each other.
Yeah, you can't just have no rules for one kid and a million rules for the other one, because they're going to resent you for that.
Yeah, they're going to be like, well, what the frick?
Yeah.
It's just like,
that's not
maybe
fair.
how you talk to them about if they're doing something wrong or their behavior's off.
Yeah. I agree though. Yeah. Each kid will be different and need different things. But as far as like
the core,
it kind of has to be somewhat the same, Yeah. This one is strict parents equals sneaky kids.
Yeah, that's true for Sarah Tita. I think your kids are going to do what they're going to do.
They are.
And
it does depend on their personality a little bit.
Do you want to know what they're doing, or do you want them to go behind your back?
So it's like, true. I did know some people that I lived by who had really strict parents, and their kids were just straight laced.
Actually, that's true.
I knew a lot of strict parents that had straight laced kids, and then there were some like me who I don't like being told what, like, my personality was just not built great to have strict rules.
That's where you got to see how your kids respond. That's when
it's kind of like, can we meet in the middle somewhere of like, you control every move versus
because you can't.
Yeah. I do think that is true to a point though. Sometimes if they have that personality, it creates very sneaky kids because they have to hide everything from you because they know you're going to get mad at them. Yeah. Or they'll have consequences.
Exactly.
So why would they tell you anything? They are going to sneak around so that...
Exactly. So it's like, do you want that relationship where they can come to you, or they just hide everything from you and sneak around?
Slippery slope.
Slippery slope right there. Anyway, those are all of our parenting hot takes. So thank you so much for sending those in.
Yeah,
those were great hot takes.
Those were.
Really great. Just know, if you're a parent out there and you're doing your best, like, we support that.
Woo!
Go you.
Go
it is
you.
A hard. It
Go
is the
parents.
hardest.
We're in this together. It's so hard.
Selfless thing you'll do, but it's also the best freaking thing in the world. So grateful to be a mama.
Me too.
Me
too.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. We will see you next week.
Woo.
Bye.
Bye.